Welcome on in, everybody. It is three bold takes. Quinn, Chase, and Freddie here, guys, and we're continuing and starting our 2024 schedule releases for teams across the country, guys. I believe we're doing 3 to 4 to 5 a week, depending on how many we can get done for the Power Four conferences. And today we're going to be talking about Arizona State, guys. Yes, the little brother of Arizona. So, Quinn, talk to me about State and Kenny Dillingham.
Look, I feel okay that they were 3-9 last year, and you look at this schedule. Let's talk about in conference play. They draw Kansas State, they draw Oklahoma State, they draw Utah, they draw Kansas. This is a brutal and Arizona. This is a brutal in conference schedule for the Big 12. Like these are all teams that are at the tippity top of the betting odds for the conference this year. Arizona State's in rebuild mode. I'm going to be real with you. This team's going to be a 3-9, 4-10 type team. It's not going to get much better from last year. What you're looking for this season from Arizona State is you want to see a competitive edge late in the year. Maybe take a team to the wire that you have no business taking to the wire. And I'm going to highlight one game on their schedule and say, if you're wanting to find what's going to be the most important game on Arizona State's schedule, it's Texas State. I'm completely serious. It's the Texas State game. Texas State is going to be a higher-end G5 team this year with odds to win the Sun Belt. They're not a slouch, is what I'm trying to say. And if you lose that game, you have the chance to have everything you're trying to build at Arizona State under this new regime derailed in an instant. Because that's what happens when a power school loses to a G5 school. So that's the one I'm circling. And then the Texas Tech game as well. I think that game could grow into a fun little rivalry for Arizona and Arizona State over the years because of Lubbock's proximity to New Mexico, Arizona area. And I think that's a game that you can be competitive in. So maybe you get a surprise upset against the Red Raiders. But, yeah, it's hard to find much positive on the 2024 schedule for Arizona State. I think they're just going to be outmanned most weeks.
Yeah, I want to start my part by looking at last year. Obviously, we mentioned 3 wins. One of those wins was Southern Utah in week 1. They won by 3 points. Then they played Oklahoma State actually last year in week 2 and got beat. They got blown out by Fresno State. They lost to Cal. Played Washington close. They beat Washington State. They got killed by Utah. They beat UCLA, killed by Oregon, killed by Arizona. We could be looking at a 10 or a 2. Oh, whoa. 2-10 season. I almost said 10-2. A 2-10 season for Arizona State. There's a very real possibility. Now, when you talk about like key games, I like the Texas State call out. I also really like the UCF game for them. You know, because UCF was a school, and of course, you know, you also have BYU as well. But these teams that came from the G5 recently into the Power Four, these are teams that Arizona State should be at least on par with, if not a little bit better, when you look at the history that they've been in the Pac-12 longer. They have, honestly, a very good recruiting bed per se, and I know they have to compete with Arizona and Oregon and all that out there in the West, but they should be better than BYU. They should be better than UCF. But the problem, even Cincinnati, the problem is they're not. And I don't think they ever will be, as bad as I hate to say that. Now, they might, you know, in 3, 4, 5 years, but it's not going to be anytime soon. Definitely not this year and not next year. So this is the start of a long and extensive rebuild to me out there at Arizona State. So I'm going 2-10. I had 3-9 written down. Quinn, you've convinced me that Texas State's going to beat them, so I'm going 2-10.
I'm going opposite. I'm going 4-8. I think they start off a little hot. They look really good, and then it just kind of goes downhill from there. But I think they pick up a big rivalry win against Arizona at the end of the year with a lot of turnover and everything. Yes, I did say it. I know that they return talent, but I think the top of the regime losing your head coach and everything, I think it shakes things up first year. You might could pounce on that. I think that's where it comes from. I like Dillingham and his work. I don't think he's over the top, one of the best coaches, but this is a passionate job for him. It's kind of like Jeff Brom going back to Louisville. He's a former Sun Devil himself. He's worked with great QBs where he's been. He's worked with Bo Nix at Auburn and at Oregon. He's flourished at both times that he's had Dillingham as an offense coordinator. So I think there's going to be good things to come out of Arizona State. It's just, can you get the talent there? I think that's the biggest thing. And my game to circle, I'm going to go Mississippi State. You nearly beat Mississippi State last year on the road. Now you get them at home, and you're home and home. I don't know. I think that could be a real marker, real test, and I think they could honestly win that game at home this year. So I think there's going to be a lot more fire. There's going to be passion to it because, like anything, if you have a person that's passionate about doing their job, there's going to be a lot more life around the organization, the building, you know. And Dillingham is passionate. He wants it. Let's just hope it doesn't end up like Scott Frost in Nebraska. That's the one way. Let's go Jeff Brum at Louisville more than Scott Frost in Nebraska. But I'm going to go 4-8 watching the Mississippi State game in week 2 for the Sun Devils. So, guys, that's it for Arizona State and their schedule 2024, where we're going to do these a lot. So make sure to stay tuned, guys. For 3 Bold Takes, it's Freddie, Chase, and Quinn.